Parashat Behar. So we have buy one get one this week. Behar b'chukoisai. Talking about b'chukoisai, it's hard. All of the klalot, all of the curses on Am Israel is not the most attractive topic. I think one year we give an understanding how great the klalot are for us. But for this week, I want to touch the beginning of Parashat Behar. There are three sections, which is first one is Shemitah, followed by Yovel, followed by Hona'ah. Hona'ah, you're not allowed to mislead each other on a transaction. And the Torah concludes, if you're going to do all those three, Vishavtem al Oretz labetach, you're going to sit on the Aretz, on the land, guaranteed to have the land. So obviously that Shemitah and Yovel are connected, but Hoino'o. Hoino'o means if you mislead information of your friend, either financial or any other information, if you comply with those, you have a guarantee to sit in the land, lavetach, forever. The shaila is what's the connection between the all three? If you go into details, there is a famous statement. It says in the Parashat of Shemitah, "Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe behar Sinai lemor." Hashem spoke to Moshe behar Sinai lemor, the dinim of the Shemitah. So the Gemara asks, what's special about Shemitah? Why we saying here that he was received Mehar Sinai? As we know, the whole Torah received from Har Sinai. So I answer the Gemara to teach you, just like Shemitah, everything was taught in the Shemitah, and was actually, all of the details were given in Har Sinai, so too all of the mitzvos, the details, and the dikdukim, everything is given on Har Sinai. So from Shemitah we're learning to the rest of the mitzvot. Shaili is why dafka we're learning from Shemitah to the rest of the mitzvot? What's special about Shemitah? Why are we not learning from Peter Chamor to the rest of the mitzvot? And we just pick a topic which doesn't seem to be so relevant, especially, for us in America and all over, and we defined by it that all of the mitzvot we're saying in Har Sinai. Second, the whole mitzvah of Shemitah is lishbot, nachon? Do not do any melacha. The way the Torah describes Shemitah, I just realized first time it's way different than I understood throughout the years. The Torah says there is one key word for Shemitah. It's called Shabbat. Nachon? Shemitah is like Shabbat. Shabbat to who? To the land. To the land. It's all about the land. Very interesting. The Shemitah is Shabbat the land. Rashi emphasized that Shabbos, just like in Shabbos Bereshis, on the first Shabbat in the Torah, we had Shabbat. Also Shemitah, we're supposed to have the Shabbat, just like the Shabbat of Bereshit. If talking about Shabbat, if the Shabbat reflect on us, that just like on Shabbat we didn't work, Shabbat Bereshit, we're not allowed to work on Shabbat, and so too on Shemitah we are not allowed to work, it flows, it makes sense, it refers to the people. Aval, the way the Torah describes Shabbat here, V'shaveta ha'aretz, the land's supposed to rest. So the comparison, you're comparing between Shabbat Bereshit, where the people rest, to the Shabbat that the land rests. That doesn't match. You should compare either people to people or land the land from Shabbat Bereshit, not comparing Shabbat Bereshit, although both of them sound like Shabbat, yet one is referred to the people, the other one refers to the land. Another something very interesting about Shemitah, the Oynesh Shemitah is very chamur. If somebody doesn't keep Shemitah, the Gemara says that they get kicked out of Eretz Israel. So, in a way, you get a visa to America, nachon? No? Lama lo? Huh? So, what's so significant, not keeping Shemitah? The Gemara says, Takia, the land will vomit it, we will throw you up, going to get rid of you because you don't keep Shemitah. What's so special about Shemitah? And by the way, the Gemara says that in Bovel, for example, people had a good life, more than Eretz Israel. That's why they dressed nicely. Bavel was a better land to live. So it's not the greatest punishment.
They also didn't go back. A huge majority.
Yeah. When they went back, they said, we're okay. Was a Maggid who came to a city, and he told the people, shtetl, in Yiddish, called shtetl, a small village, and they used to go give droshes. So he gave, Be'ezer Hashem, Mashiach going to come, and we are going to go to Eretz Yisrael. Unbelievable. So Moshe was so happy, and he went to Sprinze, his wife. He says, Sprinze, Be'ezer Hashem, helfen, Mashiach is coming, and we're going to Eretz Yisrael. It's like, wait, all done. What about the cows, all of the goats, chickens we have? What we're going to do? Mashiach going to come, how are we going to schlep it to Eretz Yisrael? It's like, you know what, good point. He went back to his, to the Magid. He said, Magid, Azoy Shaile, Farvos, I mean, we're going to Eretz Yisrael. What's it going to do with everything? What do we have? He said, you're right. Ober, you forgot something. You know, back then in Europe, they used to have the Puritz. Puritz was the governor. They can do whatever you want, almost. So he said, you here, the Puritz can take everything for you one day and put you in jail and nothing going to let out of you. If you're going to go to Eretz Yisrael, you're not going to have the goats and the sheep, but you're going to be fully protected. He said, very good, very good. And he went back to Sprinter. He said, Sprinter, this is what the Maggid said. We're going to be protected. We're going to be fine. Sprinter said, oh, that's a good answer. But you know what? I have an idea. Can you tell the Maggid that when a Mashiach come, let him take the Puritz to Eretz Yisrael, and then we have no worries. We can stay even with the sheep and everything in the same place. Be'emet, everybody inside thinks somehow like that, Mashiach going to come. Before I built my house, before I got in, if Mashiach is coming now, I'm not going to use the house. What's going on? As much as we waiting for Mashiach, there is a certain sense of, and that's why I made the Eru between my house and Shorashim, because the Gemara says that Batek Nesiyot going to go to Eretz Yisrael. So I'm using my house in Shorashim, to host everybody. So Vedra Hashem with my house in Eretz Yisrael, Shaveh, huh? What? So I need to make an Eruv all the way Shama. That's going to be a hard one. But
electrical light.
I'm serious about that. I'm planning to make my own Eruv.
What about all the houses in between here?
What do you mean?
What about all the houses in between?
Chazak, that's a better way, I think. Yeah, then everything going to go to Eretz Yisrael. That's much better. So, so basically the klala that we're getting of getting out of Eretz Yisrael, so what's so significant about Shvit that you're getting kicked out of Eretz Yisrael, but it doesn't see the biggest klala in the world, after all. Weiter, there is a certain parameter to know when you're allowed to eat. So Shvi'it, you have some batches belong to the 6th year and some to the 7th year. So the Mishnah brings in a few times, but in the Gemara also, how do you know when you're allowed to feed your animals from the grass in the field, when it's considered as the new batch and when it's considered as the previous batch? So the Gemara compared it, depends. If the chaya in the sadeh, the wild animal in the field, are eating, your animal can eat. If the chaya in the sadeh is gone by them over there, even though you have from what you harvest, you're not allowed to leave for your animals. So the old definition of Shvi'it is you go by the chaya. If the animal outside can eat, then your domesticated animal can eat. If the animal outside cannot eat, you cannot eat. What's the pshat? What's the connection between the chaya to define the old din? We're moving to the second phase, which is Yovel. Yovel, after 49 years, Hashem said it will be Yovel. Yovel will be an additional Shemitah year, because every 7th year is Shemitah. So by Yovel will be the 49th year is the last, 7 times 7, it's Yovel. So the last year will be Shemitah, and then the following, the 50th year, will be Shemitah. By the end of the Yovel, which is by Yom Kippur, we're going to blow the shofar, and all of the avodim will be free to go into their house. By the way, a small note, everybody getting emotional from the Tkiyas shofar by the end of Yom Kippur, which has nothing to do with Yom Kippur, lichure, because it's all about to remember the Yovel. The Yovel, they free the slaves, so also we are talking be Motzei Yom Kippur. So why people getting emotional, that's a good question. I think we're going to answer that. But it's good, by the way. They come to shul, it's fine. Sfaradim more, Ashkenazim, they don't care. But I'm talking about the Sfaradim, anything you make noise, they're getting excited of. So that's the concept of Yovel. So,
Ashkenazim are excited.
We already finished.
yeah. The Ve'u Rachum, So the Shaili is Yovel. The Torah have a special requirement for Bezin, Besafarta Lecha. You have to count Yovel. Just like we have a Safarta Lecha Sfirat HaOmer, Sheva Shabbatot Mimot, we have a special Sfira of the Yovel, which is a similar Sfira of Sfirat HaOmer. And the Sfira of Yovel, you have to count 7 years, 7 times, then the following will be Yovel. I would, if I need to give that message, I would have written it very simple. The Torah should write that the 50th year will be a Yovel. What do you need to? The Torah is telling you how to count to 70. 7 times 7, it's 30, 49. The following is Yovel. You know that's the Yovel. What do I need to learn how to count? It also said very clear. Count it. 50th year should be a Yovel. By the end of the Yovel, we said it's by the end of Yom Kippur. What's the connection between Yom Kippur to Yovel? Why people are getting excited? And lastly, about Yovel, why it's called Yovel? Jubilee. Why it's called Yovel? Ki. No, anybody? Huh? No, very simple. מה זה יובל? יובל is the horn, is the goat, it's shofar. So because we blow the shofar, that's why it's called יובל. מה הקשר, כאילו? You blow it, call it יובל? Even Rosh Hashanah, that all days about the shofar, we don't call it shofar, you know? And here on the Yovel, the full year, you're going to call it Yovel, במשוך היובל, למה? בתקיעת of shofar, הם יעלו בה. What's the connection? Third and last phase of our shir today is Rabbi Yosef. The Torah said that you're not supposed. No, I'm sorry. I missed one. The Gemara, it's a Gemara in Kiddushin actually. The Gemara says that Omar Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina bo roeh kama kashe onsha shel shvi, kama mitzvah. See how difficult is the avka of Shvit. Why avka of Shvit? Meaning somebody who's going to do business with Shvit, there is a few parshiot ahead of us that eventually will have to sell his house, to sell his daughter, to sell himself to be a slave, etc. By the Torah describe the Shvit, בוא תראה כמה קשה האבקה של שביעית. What's אבקה? Powder, נכון? The powder of Shvit, כן? A Russian guy told me, you know, when I came to America, I heard everything is powder. And then I saw baby powder. I didn't know what's going to come out of it, you know? So, a powder of Shvis. How do you define powder of Shvis? Why Shvis become אבקה של שביעית? כמה קשה, הדין של שביעית. Why you call Shvit powder? It's unbelievable. So the next phase is the Torah says, you're not allowed to mislead each other. And it says, where is that one? Okay. So the Torah says, וכי תמכרו ממכר לעמיתך. If you didn't know that, there is a special mitzvah to buy from a Jew and to sell to a Jew. So if you want to buy Ford Transit 15 passenger, don't buy from a Jew, a color guy, because the cereal already got into the chairs and the floor, and you won't be able to clean it. But I'm saying if you want to buy certain things that are equivalent level and clean and nice, if you have an ability to buy from a Jew or from a goy, you should make effort to buy from a Jew. And also sell, as much as Jews are difficult, you should sell to a Jew. My personal take is that usually I go up to 15 to 20% when it's come to a Jew. So if I have a Jew who can do electrician,
Charge 15?
Huh?
You charge 15?
Yeah, no. So usually Jews charge double. So I go up to 15, 20. If he's up to 15%, I'm going to use a contractor Jew. If not, I'm also a Jew, you know? So we also have to take care of our need. But the special mitzvah dafka to buy and sell to Jews. And why? What's significant? I have a table to sell, yeah? I sell it to a Jew or to a non-Jew, who cares? That means today you put it on offer app. So if there will be any app for the Frume app around, first you have to put it on Hollywood. There is that Hollywood group, my wife has it, huh? You have it also? Yes, Hollywood men only, but if you want to sell, you need the ladies to talk about it. So put it by the ladies group, and after the ladies sells if the lady is going to sell it, then you can, then if the lady, first wait a few days or whatever it takes, and then put it on offer up, because you have a mitzvah first to sell it to a Jew. מה קורה פה? What's important? I mean, I can understand why you need to help another Jew. If there is any need of help, give it to another Jew. But it doesn't relate to help at all. And it's interesting, there is a famous the Gemara, it's Metzia and all over, that how do you make a transaction? What's considered as a formal transaction from the Torah? So the Gemara says, Lagoy, a Jew, make a transaction by Meshicha. If I sell you my Chumash, your Rabbi Daniel pull the Chumash, you koine. By Goy, there is no kinyan Meshicha. All of the kinyanim of Goy are kesef. Kesef only. It should be the opposite. By us, everything is money, you know? But by Goy, it's different. But by the end of the day, why is the Torah change the form of transaction between a Jew to a Goy? And a Goy did Meshicha, he pulled it, he's not considered to belong to him. Until he actually pays you. Comes out, even if the Goy paid you before taking the object, it belongs to him. If a Jew paid you before you pulled the object, it doesn't belong to him. You can choizer, but the Gemara in Azov says, Mishapora, the answer today. But we see very clearly that there are,
That's what if it gets ruined, let's say after it gives you
if something happens, and therefore there is a takone, right now, there is a takone of Rabbi Yochanan Resh Lakish, Machlekes, but they hold that in our generation, everything by kesef. Because if you're going to say everything by Meshicha, yes, if the Torah says Meshicha, okay, I'm getting confused, so never mind. So, but the simple pshat, the Torah said by a Jew is Meshicha, not kesef, kesef is not koine, and by a Goy kesef it's koine, not Meshicha. What's going on? Why? What do make differences behind how to make transaction? Make our life much easier. Then the Torah says there is a special thing. The Torah says that if you're going to sell your friend something, al tonu, don't mislead your friend, be fair, be a mensch, and sell them for the fair price. And the Gemara explained, במספר שנים אחר היובל, תקנה מאת עמיתך. במספר שני תבואות ימכור לך, meaning, we know that all of the karkaot, any land that you are selling, by yovel it goes back to the original owner. So the Gemara says, make sure to calculate the years properly according to the yovel, and don't sell it and do without the proper calculation. That sounds ridiculous. Meaning the Torah thinks we are stupid, and I mean, if you buy something, anyone, how do you determine the price? When's the yovel? 15 years from now? Okay, so it's 15 years old. The Torah telling you, no, make sure you cheshbon by the yovel, how many years left, and based on that, sell it. Meaning, so don't sell it more or less. Why do you need the Torah to tell me not to be stupid? Nothing special about this cheshbon. Obviously, you got a cheshbon when you sell a transaction.
Why can't you forever buy it?
That's a special thing of the Torah, כי חוזרים למשפחות, השבטים שלהם. כן. But the formula that the Torah is teaching me to use, calculate the years of the yovel, doesn't seem to be בכלל needed. The Torah says, don't make honah, so whatever it is, don't overcharge. So if you don't overcharge, then it relates whatever it is. But all this concept of not overcharge is very difficult. The Gemara says in פרק שישי, נו? מציע. קניונים, נו? לא, רביעי. עזוב, הנה. The Gemara says that the kinyonim, the actual transaction, you're making money. If you buy a milk, you're not allowed to make more than 20% profit on the milk. So you have a cap of 20 after expenses, by the way. So all those who complain about all of the kosher stores, why they charge so much, they are allowed to make profit up to 20%. So if they buy for $1 and the expenses are 30 cents, so you can sell it for $1.50, where you make 20% from the original cost. And the shaila is, why is the Torah giving you a cap how much you're supposed to make profit? Meaning, today, how do people determine value of object? How do you price? I used to own a car in a company, and I used to call it a face price. The guy comes to you, hi, how much is a car? Like, which car you want to rent? Whatever. His face and behavior teaching you that he's about to spend money. So you're giving him a high rate. If he says, hi, how much is a car? I need the cheapest one you have. You're not gonna give him lower price, So, but in America, people charge you the highest amount that you won't reject it, and still you're going to buy it. It has nothing to do with the value of the object of what they sell you. When we installed this mechitza over here, they need to do a change of order to embrace it on top. They send me a change of order, $3,000. I'm like, my guy does it in one day, I pay him $350. Why? He said, this is a price. So I had to make a cheshbon. Should I do it? But look, it's still manageable with the price of the divider. I'll do it. Prices are not defined by what it's worth. It's rather by what you will pay. So anything you buy outside, what you pay.
Yeah, well,
But
the value of something is how much something someone's willing to pay for.
You're willing to pay for it, exactly. So it's okay, by the way, because we all live like that. So by the way, he screwed you here, you screw him on the other side, and everybody complain about Elal, what the price is too high. Nachon? If you own Elal yourself, would you give lower prices? You're going to do the same thing. If you're going to own the kosher Casey, you're going to do the same thing. Don't fool yourself, I'm going to be a tzaddik. I met a guy who's supposed to say, I'm going to be a tzaddik, I'm going to open supermarket for cheap. Then after a year, it wasn't cheap anymore. The tzaddik went away. I mean, we all act in the same. Today, by the way, it is mutter to charge more because that's the common practice in the market. And the shaila would be, why is the Torah Bechal giving you formulas how to make profit? It should be reflected by the current and custom and market. Why Bechal we have these introductions. Two more pieces to go weiter. And the Torah says there is a two ona'ah. Al tonu ish et achiv mentioned twice. One, do not do ona'at mamon. Don't overcharge for money. And the second one, lo ona'at dvarim. Don't put your friend down. Don't give him a hard time. That's called ona'at dvarim. So the same word we have for enoy for money, we have enoy for people. Belichur is two different things. Enoy for money, it's something that do not overcharge your friend, and to embarrass your friend, it's something. It has nothing to do with enoy of money. I mean, a Jew can be embarrassed if you pay overpaid, yet, but the essence of actual taking money from somebody, it's and embarrassing them. It's two different actions. Why is the Torah describing it on the exact similar same word? So in order to understand, let's start the following. Let's go back to Shemitah. The Torah says that the special din of Shemitah, V'shov sa'oret Shabbat laHashem, the land's supposed to rest. If the Torah says the land's supposed to rest, that means that the land, while is not resting, is not right for the land. If you need to make somebody rest, that means that you shouldn't work. So we're coming from a premise that our land should not be worked. But the land has no choice, it gotta be worked. And therefore you should make a special thing that once in a while give the land a break. So the land not supposed to work. So how do we know that the land is not supposed to work? What's the reason the land is being worked, Bichlal? We're going back to where? What makes the land work? Bereshis. When Adam Arishon ate from the Etz Hadat, from the tree, Hashem told them after, Arura Adama ba'avurecha, the land is cursed for you. So the only reason the land is cursed and needs to be worked, it's only because of Adam. What happened before the Chet of Adam? What was the land? The land fully relaxed, not being cursed.
All natural.
Huh?
Is it all natural?
Yeah, all natural. It says like,
Okay.
why Be'emet the land needs to be cursed for the Adam? Why is the land's fault that the land, because of the Adam's sin, it needs to be cursed? What's the connection? If you want to punish him, give him a punishment, but why cursing the land? Hashem told Adam, do not eat from Etz Hadat. The Gemara says, Da kani ma kani, da la kani ma kani. Anybody who connect dat has everything in the world. No dat is, you have nothing. Hashem irachem, we can see sometimes older guys who have dementia. They don't know what's going on over there. They seems to be happy, nachon? They said every day they meet a new wife, you know? Why not? And their kids, people, you don't see them ever stressed out. You don't see them ever bother with anything. So what's so bad to see somebody who has dementia? They seems to have good life. Good life defined by the ability, the capacity, the ability to measure life. What is life about? If you're not able to measure life, you're not in life. You're not part of the life that you are at all. Somebody has dementia, he's not here. He seems to be happy, fun, he can talk to everything, it's fine, but he's not having that. It's the missing foundation of the human being to begin with. Before Chetz et Hadat, the Gemara says that Malachei HaSharet ayu tzolim le'Adam HaRishon, they used to barbecue. For Adam HaRishon, basar, serving him wine. Sounds good, right? Wagyu, I think. You know, they had the good Wagyu back then. You know, Adam HaRishon being served by Malachei HaSharet. Okay? So Adam...
I thought he didn't eat meat.
אה?
I thought he didn't eat meat.
לא, אחר כך. לפני כן, המלאכה שרת first wine. He was carnivore from day one.
Oh.
And then, because of Chetz Hadat, no more. But that's the raya of Dr. Gingy, who holds the carnivore diet, that at the beginning Adam, the food was meat and wine. Then, because of the klolo, you're eating like an animal. That's what the Gemara said, that Adam HaRishon was crying. He said, Ani ve'behema sheli, we're going to eat from the same place, because it's an animal food. And that's why he holds that only on vegetables, all these things are not good for you. Whatever, that's not today's topic. So Adam HaRishon, It's a good point, by the way, it's a good point. So Adam HaRishon, באמת, he was served by the Malachim. He had everything. But if you think about it, he had nothing. Because what he was missing, that. What's that? It's the engagement with the world. When Adam ate from the tree, he was telling Hashem, I'm willing to give up the luxury life, but I want to have I want a touch. I want to be connected to the world that I'm at. I don't want to be served. Eating from the tree means it's a declaration that I gotta be in control. Anyone who's in jail is like Malachai Sharet, you know. He has food every time. He doesn't need to spend a penny. Everything has been taken care of. Clothing, food, everything. He's even having a babysitter, you know. So make sure he's going to be in the cell when needed. So why people don't want to be in the cell? In the cell, because you got to control. When people control you, you don't feel you're not attached to reality. You're not attached to life. The only way people survive jail, it's by controlling. Therefore, the biggest gangsters you have in jail. Why? Because if you control people around you, you feel sense of yourself. You've been controlled by others. You have no sense of who you are. You know, Rubashkin, that was in jail, he was here talking, and he says an unbelievable statement. I think I quoted before, but I think it's so amazing. So he said that when he was in the cell, he asked for they didn't allow him to take a kippah. So he said, no, I need a kippah. He said, man, you're not in a synagogue. So we are behind bars. You understand? He was talking to him, he's the boss. He said, as far as I'm concerned, you are behind bars. He was on the other side, behind bars. That's a sense of control. It's unbelievable power. Meaning, he made the other person be in jail, and he's the freedom guy. Rabbi Avram Levi, the one from Eretz Yisrael, he was here recently, he said that his father-in-law was in the Holocaust when he was 13 years old. And he was a special group that were there. He said, it was very clear to us that we are the Bnei Choirim and they are the slaves. We are the freedom people. The definition of freedom is controlling yourself. To see those Germans, Yimach Shemam, who couldn't control themselves. To see the Germans, Yimach Shemam, they couldn't control themselves at all. And we are people in control. The fact that you physically controlled me, it doesn't mean anything. The actual control meaning is the man who's controlling himself. That's what divine control is. So, can have people in jail feels freedom versus people outside when they feel in jail being controlled. Adam HaRishon said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, said, Rebbe, you know, I appreciate what you give me, but I gotta be in control. And how do you give control to people? You know, the only way a man feels in control when he has the entitlement and the right to be controlled. Hashem says, Arura Adama ba'avurecha, I'm cursing the land because of you. Meaning, I'm making something special for you. I'm going to give you the ability to control the world. But to control, you gotta be deserve it. You know, a man wants to control his wife. Either you behave good or you being nice parnasa. But if you barely bring a check to the house and if you call a guy, you have to behave, akhi. You know, you can't just say do whatever you want. Hey, if you bring a credit card, we met a guy last night. He gives his wife credit card. He goes to sleep 3 o'clock at night, get up early in the morning, gets his own world. The credit card goes through the whole time. She can afford it. But you gotta give her something. You gotta earn the shlita in the house. The control gotta be earned. So obviously you gotta be a mensch no matter what, but it's a concept. So Adam, you want to control? Hashem said to Adam HaRishon, no problem. You want to control your wife, nachon? We control Bach. She needs to be controlled. It's good for her also. We spoke about it another time. It's good for her to be controlled by a man, but you gotta earn it. Not anybody can control me. And if you want to control to the world, you gotta earn it by Arura Adama. I'm going to curse the land. You're going to work hard. You're going to be a producer. You're going to bring a lot of grain, a lot of crop, a lot of money, and then eventually you're going to earn the control over the world, and that's you have this sense of connection to the world. That was in Chet Etzadat. The problem is it's dangerous because if you live a life of control, you forget who you are. Why? People who are controlled, they're not sensitive to others. It's all about your control. And people are control always putting other people down. You're in control. So what gives you the sense, the gain of control is by putting other people down. You see often rich people are much more controlling, lama, because they have many people who are under their control. They have a lot of employees, a lot of workers who live the life, the surrounding on their control. Says the Torah, the Shemitah, and all these three topics, Shemitah, Yovel, and Noeh, it's an understanding that although Hashem gave you control, He empowered you in the control. You yourself, you're not under control. How do you train yourself you're not under control? Hashem took the land that He gave you. Shabbos Bereshis was the only Shabbat that men didn't control the land. Lama? When did Hashem curse Adam? By the
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. He didn't get a chance to work. The following Sunday, they didn't start Monday. Start Sunday. The following Sunday, Adam already started working the land. That was the first time facing the land. Shabbat Bereshit is a Shabbat, was no connection to the land. Hashem said to Hashem telling us, Shemitah, I want the land to go back on time to where it was, for you to understand that you're not in control. But Hashem giving you an unbelievable special. The Gemara says, "V'tziviti birchati lachem b'shana ashishit." Hashem said that I will going to give you bracha on the second year, on the 6th year. You should make enough 6, 7, and 8, because if you don't plant on the 7th, you don't have on the 8th. Why? It's very simple. What's the reason that produce is usually you have enough tfuka, enough? No, meaning it supplies enough for 1 year, because land is limited. What's the limitation of the land? Because of the klala, arura adama. Hashem says, I'm removing the klala from you. If I'm removing the klala, then the land will produce. I'm giving you the most beautiful, perfect land, and the land can produce as much as you need, and you have no problem. So why are people not observing Shvis? Hashem, you giving me everything, but I want to control. I don't want to receive everything from you. The reason that people, by the way, it's a beautiful Rashi. Rashi says that the wrong page. Vayita Shabbat haaretz lachem leochla, pasuk vav. He said, even though I prohibit the land on you, lo be'achila, I didn't prohibit to you to eat from the land. Lo be'ana, you can have benefit from the land. Ela shelo tinlog ba'em kebal habayit. You're not a boss. Ela hakol iyu shavim ba. Everybody are equal. What's the sense of feeling somebody go into your land and take whatever you want? You know, American, I'm a sniper, you know, I'm shoot the guy. So he said, you employees on a Shemitah are the same level as you. What is that teaching you? Abdul said the language, bro, you're not in control, wake up. Somebody control them. Too much Shorashim, Baruch Hashem. Somebody control you. You're not in control over here. If you can let go everything, you're declaring you're not in control. That's the reason the only reason people didn't want to obey Shvit, if you get everything, because I want a sense of control. Just like Odom Marishon wants a sense of control, and that's the reason that Hashem cursed the land. Therefore, even on a sense of the Shvis, people needs the sense of control. Now we understand the why you're getting kicked out to Chutz La'aretz. The joke I said, it's a lot of meaning. What's the whole idea of Chutz La'aretz? Somebody else is controlling you. You can have a beautiful life in Chutz La'aretz, nachon? But who's controlling Chutz La'aretz? You're always under the threat of the goyim. What's it going to do to you? Why people went to Eretz Yisrael? To understand that you're not in control of others. Baruch Hashem, we live in America, it's Medinat Chesed, but anti-Semites we have everywhere. You never know what's going to be in 10 years from now. Another Nevele can be a president and can mess up. Nobody feels the entitlement to what he has. That's the pshat of Golus. You can have everything. Like we said, you can be in jail. You have everything, but you have nothing. You don't have control. The sense of, if you want to have a sense of control and you're not willing to let it go to Hashem, Hashem going to put you outside of Eretz Yisrael when you be fully controlled by other people. If you're not willing to let go that part of yourself, eventually you will be imposed upon you. You can have a beautiful life somewhere else, but you're not in control. The principle, the power of Shemitah is to understand, I let go and I let everybody manage it. Now we understand why we're comparing the parameter, what's mutar and asur, we're comparing it to the chaya. What's the whole idea of chaya in the sadeh? Zero control. Nobody can control. That's your comparable to Shemitah. When the chaya can eat, your animal to eat. You got to treat yourself as if there is no control. You have to let go everything the surrounding of you. Then we are moving into the Yovel, especially the specialty of Yovel. We said every 49 years, the 50th year, it's going to be Yovel. So we ask on Yovel, how come Yovel is, you have to count? The Torah should say 50th year will be Yovel. What do you need to count? You don't know how to count for 49 years, then you need to try to instruct you 7-7 in weiter. Why we end the Yovel with Yom Kippur, and why Yovel called Yovel with the name of the shofar. Yovel, in the Torah, there is a higher level of a sense of control. Shemitah, it's a control of our people, our surrounding, our assets mainly. That's a sense of control of a Shemitah that you need to let go. You're not control of your asset, you don't have anything, and you let go. But there is a sense of control of people who are around you. Meaning, if you have a slave that you purchase, you have employees, people who really serve you for many years, and suddenly you have to tell a slave after 40 years he works for you, okay, you're free. When you let control of other people, you bring into yourself, I'm not controlling the technical, my assets. If I cannot control my employee, that means I'm fully controlled by somebody else. The sense of a Jew is supposed to be that any control that I have over my employees is not a real control. It's Hashem put me to be in charge of them. Meaning, any worker, any supervisor knows that he cannot control his employee because his manager can fire him. But the highest one thinks that he is the boss. Hashem reminds us every 50 years that there is zero control on you and your employees, where you live a life understanding you have zero control on anybody else around you. But the Torah is telling us you got to count it for 49 years. The counting is the yearly reminder that you're not in control. It's not about to let go 50 years, because that's happened usually one time in personal life. Maybe two. No, the max is two. No way to have 3, 50 and 50, can? So the max amount of Yovel you can have maybe your baby 1. If you lived in 102, then you can have 3 Yovel. But when you're a baby, you don't have, you're not in control, people control you. So Yovel, it's the time where the Torah requires you to count it. Because you have to remind yourself on a day-to-day, every year, that you are not controlling anybody else around you. Therefore, Yom Kippur, it's the end time of... What's the idea of Yom Kippur? You're not eating, you're not drinking,
No control.
you're nothing, you're nobody. You dress white clothing, which is like dead people. Zero control. That's the reason Yom Kippur is time for Shidduchim. Because Shidduchim is all about controlling. All of the issues on marriage, it's about control. If you said you want cheese and she said she wants, you said dairy, she said she wants meat, and you are arguing because of what you said, the control. What's the issues of Shlom Bayit? Our Shiva used to say 99% is control. Because the underlining, if you're not in control...
What's the 1%?
Huh?
What's the 1%?
So he said, so he told them, once he said in the shir, he said, somebody told me that even the 1%, 0.9 of it, it's really also control. Yeah. Some of them has real problem. There are two issues. It's control, and the second issue is the mother-in-law. Yeah, that's also control. It's the same problem. The mother-in-law. Most of the divorce is because of parents. Because she's getting involved. She said it's all about control. I had a pshat yesterday. The daughter-in-law called Kala. Nachon? In Hebrew, it's called Kala. Forever. Why is she called Kala forever? Kala is when she gets married. Nachon? Why Kala stays forever? What's the whole idea of Kala? The Gemara says, "Be'edua shekala sonet lechamuta." There is a hatred between Kala and the daughter-in-law. Lama? Kala, you take credit. All of the tension I had to do many times with the mother-in-law and the future Kala, it's the mother-in-law cannot control the Kala. She wants something. Who she wants? I'm spending the money. She's going to tell me how to do it? Huh? מה כן? לא סתמי, קלה, מה? לא, סתמי, mother-in-law, הקלה.
קלה טוב.
הקלה צודקת, מצוין, I was worried, אלפי. הקלה צודקת, I mean, the קלה, but it's very hard for mother-in-law to give control over her son to somebody else. That's why she remains the name Kala. Because that feeling of control, it keep throughout life, and the daughter-in-law will be blessed with a lot of avodas amidos. You got to work on herself. No, she remains the Kala. Kala is the time where she's the center of the world. That's how the mother-in-law looking at her compared to herself. Yeah, the classic case that, you said, I'm so happy with about my wife, my Kala, she's so special. Somebody this week told me, like, the mother-in-law complained, he always says she's special. I'm also special. The mother herself says I'm special. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I didn't say that. But, no, she's right. Because it's coming from a place, I'm losing control. That's a place of Kala. So Yom Kippur, that's why Yom Kippur, it's a time for Shidduchim. Lama Yom Kippur, it's a time for Shidduchim. When you have no control, you can get married. Because everything, I want like that, I don't want like that, she should listen, she should do. I wanted to cook Moroccan food, I wanted to know gefilte fish, yes gefilte fish, whatever it is. It's all about control. That's what's the difficult time of Shidduchim. Yom Kippur is the time for Yovel, when you let all of your slave, all of your people around you go, because Yom Kippur is the time that you have no control. That's why it's called Yovel. What's Yovel? Yovel, it's a shofar, nachon? Sound of the shofar, that's what freed the avodim. There's a machlokes in the Gemara without shofar freed or not, but one of the opinions of the Gemara. So sound of the shofar freed the avodim. Basically, what's make the avodim go home? Nothing. Yeah, me. תקיעת שופר מוציא. מה זה תקיעת שופר? It's nothing.
You have no control of the sound.
נכון? It's like you make the most stupid voice. You make the weirdest voice into the shofar and big noise come out of it, and then you're going out. This is who are you for life. When we feel we have control, we have stupid thoughts in our minds that coming out, and we think we are in control. When you blow the shofar, you think you are the one who making the noise, or is the shofar? It's a shofar making the noise. You're nobody, and you have a better shofar.
It's like we always say for also you could be practicing.
Yeah, sometimes you practice shofar. That's a klum, I was once in Rosh Hashanah. Why? The guy in any direction, even put it upside down almost. Nothing came out of the shofar. And he says, V'yinoyam 70 times. Nothing comes out. And the guy comes. So a kid, 13 years old, came, said, let me try. Oh man, I felt so bad for the Baal Tokea. He's like, I'm like, I think nothing to do with the throat. I didn't want to tell him, It's your lips, but it's the guy there. That's a control sense, but you're not in control, making noise in the shofar. So all of the sense of control that we have throughout life, it's an illusion. Control, it's an illusion. You're not in control. Why? And that's the last part of the parsha of this topic, which is lo tonu ish et amito. Hona'ah means do not mislead information. And why people putting other people down? They want to control. The only people who are putting other people down, people who have no control. If you're controlling, you don't need to talk down to people. You don't need to embarrass people. There are two ways to control people. Control can be either by it verbally or with money. Money, everybody feels control. The Torah gives you another unbelievable layer of understanding. What's the pshat? You're not in control. We think that the assets that we have, it belong to us. So in order for you to release, you have a car. Now you want to sell it, nachon? How do you release the ownership of a car? If you understand you're in control and it's yours, how do you release an ownership from me to somebody else? Sell it. How do you, what makes the transaction? Money. It says the Torah, the only way you do transaction by Jews is meshicha. One, when you pull that it's yours, you didn't give me anything back. By the way, after you pull the object, if you didn't pay me, I can take you to Beis Din. I cannot take the object back. So for example, unbelievable. So I sell you, the Gemara says, I sell you a para, okay? Akra yad, she makes one move. He said, that's mine, okay, moshech ota, pulled it. One move, kana, zeu, meshicha. But you didn't pay me. That means all of the money that we have and all of the assets, and that I think a big chidush, there is a community ownership to our projects. It's really it's not owned by us, it's owned above. Meaning, I want to say it's owned by the corporation which called Am Israel. But even getting married, it's kind of socialism, but it's not obviously because we believe in the effort. But you have to understand on a sense that that your object, your belonging, are not really belong to you. People said that, my child, even your children are not yours. You're just a customer service to take care of them. Nachon? It's not my child, my boy. I hate to hear it from people. Mine. It's not yours. Let it go. And there is an age that you don't say my child. People use the word my child up to 12, 13. Then it gives you so much headache.
This child.
There's like, this boy, your son, look the way he behaves. Then it's your son. It's not my child anymore. Because you take ownership when it's comfortable for you. When they stop behaving well, then I don't know what. This is not the child that I raised. Okay, that's yours. Before it was yours, now it's not yours. People feel entitlement to the surrounding. But an actual asset that we have, it's not really. So in other words, for example, it's like a corporation. So in a corporation, let's say you have few partners, nachon? And one wants to sell certain shares to another. We bought shorashim, the siyata dishmaya yesterday. So one of the biggest fear of a Jew is to pay taxes. And paying property tax is like every Jew always trying to find a shortcut, but there are none. Property tax and other taxes, you can have shortcuts, you can do combinot, yeah. But if you buy an asset, you have to pay sales tax and property tax every year. Now, this building, it's property tax there, about $120,000 to $130,000 a year. That's too much money. So what's the bypass not to pay property tax? You buy the corporation. If you buy the corporation, there is no record of the sale. So, meaning, you're going to pay property tax, but this guy had the property purchased for 1.67 million. He sold it now, it's public record, 7.5 million. So you're going to pay taxes on 7.5 or 1.6? You want to pay on 1.6. So you buy the corporation, and then you fine. The only problem is, if anybody will sue the corporation, Allah, you messed up. So you never know. So I know this property, I was trying to buy the Siyat Ishmael 4 times. I was in contract once, 2 partners signed, the third one didn't sign. Okay, a year after I was in contract again. This is like 8-9 years ago. I was in contract again. Then the last 2 parts, the first one didn't sign. Then they were in balagan, litigation, and then one partner bought the remaining 2. And then I went to him 2 years ago, I want to buy, he says 12 million. And then he called me before Pesach, I'm ready to sell. And it was a mensch, the first Jew didn't take advantage of me because I needed for shorashim, and he sold it for me for a very fair price. It was a very big mensch, the way he handled everything with me. So he offered me, buy the company. I'm like, Achi, you had the lawsuit, you have this, that. But the truth is, we are non-for-profit. We don't pay taxes. That's the biggest joy, We don't pay taxes. Here we do, because my attorney told me here we're using a residential building. And he said, so listen to that. You don't have to, but he said, if you every time come to a lawsuit and you say this is residential, that's the only way you can use it as a shul. It's my house, I can have as many people as I want. If you choose house, we don't pay taxes. There was an article, somebody showed me in one of the TVs about the shuls that bothering the neighbors. And he brought all of the shuls around the area who are operating out of the house. And he got everybody except Shorashim. Lama? Because he did search online who doesn't pay property tax because it's a religious institution. So Shorashim pays, So Baruch Hashem, I wasn't part of that list, but we're not worried anymore. So what's the pshat? When you buy from a corporation, it's an internal purchase. If you buy the property, you have title, you have a lot of work to do when you buy from a company. When a Jew buys from another Jew, he buys corporations. We buy within each other. When a goy buys something, it's not buying corporation, he's buying an asset, an object. Therefore, a Jew buys via Meshicha, because nothing changed. Now we just transfer it over there. We'll do the cheshbon later, One time you're going to give donation to that place, and they're going to give donation to other place, and the money going to go to Eretz Yisrael after. So I have some friend over there that I owe the money. With Jews we fix things out, Baruch Hashem. Sometimes too good, but that's how Jews behave. Because it's within the family, it's remaining the family. When you sell to a goy, you're disconnecting it from the family. It's not part of you. But the message of the Torah, that means you have to say you have no control. Even your asset is not you have payment and I bought and it's mine. And everybody said, wow, you own this building? I'm like, no, the bank owns it. You have no ownership. So it's the same thing. What you own, you don't own. It's really owned by the corporation. I mean, we all Klal Yisrael together. That's why the Torah says you're not allowed to charge oinoe. You can't overcharge. If you're giving it to a different individual, then you can overcharge. Okay, sell it to him. But when it's come within each other, you're not allowed to do oinoe. Therefore, the Torah emphasized, Bechitim koru, you have to sell to a Jew and buy from a Jew. Because you got to keep it within the corporation. You cannot leave it out. That's only come if you understand you're not in control. When the sense of understanding, I should sell it to another Jew, why am I not allowed to sell it to a goy? Man, it's not yours. You're not in control. There is somebody above control everything, and he give it the instruction exactly how to control it. Like, the Jews if the Jew doesn't want to pay your price, that's another issue. So find the goy, friar, is gonna pay you. That's okay. But the foundation of transaction and business among Jews teaching you that you're not an owner, rather you are under the corporation. Now we understand what the Gemara says. Omar Rabbi Barab Chanina, Bo ure, come and see, kama kashe avka shel shvit. Why called shvit powder? Powder means the underlining what happened. Meaning when you have a construction, we now breaking a walls over there in the new building. You have dust all over. Dust is not tangible, but that's what underlining by the end of the day. That's what remains. Avka shvit, the issue of shvit is not the actual purchasing. It's not the actual, it's the avka, what's going on behind, the back of your mind. What's going on in your mind? You understand that you think you are in control. So what's the punishment if somebody does shvit? The Gemara says you gotta sell that. He's gonna sell his asset. He's gonna sell his belonging. He's gonna sell his daughter, and then he's gonna sell himself. If you want to have, if the avka of shvit is the control, you don't have. If you want to be in control, Hashem will transfer you to train you, and will show you that you are not in control. Therefore, the Gemara conclude that the Torah conclude this parsha, "Vishavtem al haaretz labetach." It said, "V'asitem et chukotai v'et mishpatai tishmeru, v'asitem otam v'ishavtem al haaretz labetach." If you're going to do everything, you're going to sit on the land calmly. So the simple pshat, we're going to sit on the land calmly. Why? The only reason Hashem will move you, because if you think you control, you got to be somewhere else to understand you are not in control. But the Torah's Kohanim brings the following details. How do you sit on the land? Labetach. Says the Torah Kohanim, לבטח ולא מפוזרים, you're not going to be scattered, ולא מפוחדים עליה, you're not going to be afraid on it, ולא גולים, and you're not going to be in exile. מה? You know, our society has a lot of anxieties, נכון? Panic attacks and everything. No, לא יאללה, it's happened. So, what do we have? Where's fear coming from? If you try to control your environment and you feel you're losing control, then you start. I told somebody who has panic attack, I told him you need to say one posuk, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. He's like, what is that connection to my panic attack? Like panic attack, you feel that you have no control of yourself because that's remind you and experience you being at whatever the trauma you're going through, that experience in the body in panic attack. When you say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, you understand Hashem is the full one who's controlled the world. That should help. I didn't ask you to help. That should help a panic attack because you understand that. Meaning, he asked me after we went to many psychologists, so I couldn't give him psychologist answer. I need to give him the Torah answer, and I think that's the Torah perspective. Panic attack, all this feeling coming from a sense that I'm losing control. What's going to be? What's going to happen? If you understand that there is somebody who controls everything, they're not going to lose control. Says the Torah, "V'shavtem al haaretz labetach." I promise you, you're not going to be afraid. You're afraid only if you have what to lose. Because if you have nothing to lose, because you don't feel any sense of ownership, then you're not going to be afraid. And you're going to be calm. And you're going to be beautiful life where you're yourself, your surrounding. So I think if the importance of this message is the general understanding. By the way, on a practical level, I understand that it's hard, you know. You feel sense to your car, you feel control, it's my car, it's my that. But I think with time can be worth understanding that whenever you come to difficult times, we have to put in mind we're not in control. And especially those who are married, you have to sense, I'm not in control. And if she says something and I listen to her, nothing came out wrong. Ma, she's controlling me. I'm not in control. I'm not supposed to be controlled by wife. And that's the formula for shidduchim, for those who want to get married. If if you want to, But that's a sense of that. Somebody told me that he recently had a child, so he called me up. He said a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. He said, Rabbi, everybody told me to get married would be so hard. I never knew that having a baby, it's so hard. What's the difference between why everybody said marriage is so hard, and when it's come to babies, nobody telling you. And mamash, having a baby is much harder than getting married. Getting married, you have a fun, you fight here and there. That's part of the business, you gotta fight. But having a child, you don't sleep. That's it. Forget it. The first after the first day, even if you sleep at night, you're always alert. If somebody cries, you hear him different. It's all different life having a baby. Why nobody telling you that it's a problem? I was thinking, why not? Why? No. Why? Nachon? Pshat is simple. What's the biggest issue? What's the biggest fear of getting married? Somebody else control you. By the child, you feel you're controlling him at the beginning. If you feel controlling him, so you feel good about it. But when getting married is a sense somebody controlling me. That's why everybody talks so bad. Getting married, I'm so sorry for you, But all those messages, all of the jokes about marriage and not about children, coming from the underlying feeling, okay, we know that somebody else in control. And one sentence, if you understand that you are not in control, then you're in the highest level of control. Then your wife will let you manage her, to do everything for her, and all of tension will be away. Shabbat shalom.